Good evening, Lord Mayor and councillors. My name is Carolyn and I live at number 76 Lothian Street. This evening I'd like to draw your attention to some of the overlooking, overshadowing and daylight access impacts which will relate directly from the mass scale and building height of the proposed development. The three neighbouring properties at 74, 76 and 78 Lothian Street are particularly impacted. My home at number 76 is at the rear of the three properties in our owners' corporation. My property faces west onto established gardens on either side of the central path, which runs down to the entrance on Lothian Street. The rear boundary of my property abuts Little Lothian Street North, and you can see that better in the following plan. So I'm right at the back. Okay. Right at the back, that's my property there, and on the left part, where the rounded corner is my lounge room or my primary habitable room. It faces directly north onto the southern boundary of the proposed development. A north-facing window is the primary light source for my lounge room. This window is 6 metres directly opposite the boundary of the proposed development. That includes the balcony of the apartment 103. That means that my property is clearly within scope of the overlooking objective. And this is how it looks on the next slide from Little Lothian Street North. So what you're looking at here on the left is my lounge room window. That's my lounge, my primary habitable room. 6 metres across is the boundary for the proposed development. And where I've got that over is proximate to where the balcony will be for apartment 103, I think. To my view, this looks like the balcony on that apartment is an elevated viewing platform with direct line of sight access into my lounge room or a primary habitable room. And I consider this overlooking to be an unreasonable impost on my amenity and my privacy and my overall enjoyment of my property. Furthermore, overshadowing the development will significantly and permanently reduce the amount of sunlight onto the window of my lounge room, and as been mentioned, the viability of our well-established gardens will be compromised, as they'll have to exist in deep shade for prolonged periods. These are attractive gardens, they're viewable by pedestrians and vehicles along Lothian Street, so they contribute meaningfully to the streetscape. My neighbours and I, we've worked hard to establish our gardens, and I believe that it will be an unreasonable impost or unreasonable outcome for us and an unwarranted degradation of the street activation if our gardens were to go. So I would like you to consider those particular aspects when you're considering this particular application. I believe that the application as it stands should be refused. And I'd like to thank you for your time and the opportunity to address this forum.
Thank you, Caroline. Any questions? No? Yes. Oh, yes. Councillor Leppard.
Evan, can we just follow up on the issue of the level 1 balcony and the direct oversight of the habitable room at number 76 and what controls, if any, there are to mitigate against that?
The lounge room.
Yes, Councillor Leppard. So the proposal either includes sufficient screening to 1.7 metres of height, or it's required via condition for that screening to be added to the proposal to ensure that there's no unreasonable overlooking in line with the provisions of the planning scheme.
Thank you, Evan.
Excuse me.
Yes, Councillor Watts.
But the point that the occupant just referred to, the light, is the fact, though, that will be shadowed, won't it?
It is correct that there will be additional shadow cast onto the neighbouring property